Hi, yeah, welcome to part 2 of my finishing my novel in 2 months challenge. It is currently the 1st of February and I am halfway through part 8, so same place where we left off yesterday. So I've been looking at how much I have left to do this month, and I don't know exactly how long part 9 is going to be because I haven't outlined it properly yet. But I'm thinking it's gonna be at least 5 chapters, maybe more. So my current timeline, if I want to finish the book by the end of February, is to do 2.5 chapters per week. If you saw part 1 of this video, you will realize that this is a lot to ask. But I'm feeling confident. I am feeling... maybe confident's not the right word, but I'm feeling optimistic about it. If you didn't watch part 1, I recommend you watch that first, because clearly I am giving you zero context here. Little bit of context. This is a 2-month challenge that I'm doing, in which I'm trying to force myself to finish my novel in 2 months, during which I am not allowed to make YouTube videos. But I want to go back to making videos in March, so I only have until the end of February to actually finish my novel if I want to do it during this dedicated time for it. And that's what we're doing at the minute. 1 month left. Let's see how it goes, I guess. Hi, yeah, it is Saturday the 5th of February at the minute, and I wanted to give you a little writing update. I've been working on the next 2 chapters in my outline sort of in parallel because I was really stuck on the next one in line and they're happening in different places, so I can do that. And I actually finished the second one of them this morning, and I started the 7th chapter this morning as well. I'm actually thinking it might be easier for me to finish chapter 7 than it will be to finish chapter 5. But I'm tipping away at chapter 5 slowly, and we will finish it at some point. It might just not happen this weekend. But more excitingly than that, I bought myself a computer last week, which was supposed to take 2 weeks to get here, and actually got here at the start of this week. But I didn't have a monitor, so it's just been sitting there waiting for my monitor to get here so I could use it. And that arrived this morning, so I am so excited. I am going to go and set it up, and then I get to write on it. It's a little bit overkill for writing. I really just want it for video editing and art. I can write perfectly fine on my existing laptop, but since I've got it, I am going to write on it. Hi, really quick update. It's the 7th of February today and it is Monday, and I've just finished chapter 7 along the outline, which technically I should have been finishing by yesterday, but it's fine because I actually decided to combine chapter 7 and chapter 8 into one chapter, so I no longer have to write chapter 8, which means that I'm technically ahead. I don't know how much more writing I'm gonna be able to do this week because I have to go into the office to do some stuff in the lab for a couple of days. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do anything tomorrow because I'm gonna be back home quite late. But I do still need to plot out part 9, which I've been thinking about. So I'm thinking I can probably do that on my commute and just sort of think about it and take some notes and that sort of thing. The only problem I can see with that strategy is that I'm still missing chapter 5, I think, which is the really difficult chapter that I really don't actually want to write because I'm really struggling with it. And if I start plotting out part 9, I'm gonna be really excited to write part 9 this weekend, and then I still need to go back and write chapter 5. I'm not gonna skip chapter 5. Hi, yeah, it is Sunday the 13th today, and I have not done any of the things I was supposed to do this week. It's been really quite tough. Like, I've been having to go to work into the actual office a couple of times, and it's just been quite busy regarding work. And then yesterday I had to run a bunch of errands, so I didn't do that much writing either, which effectively means that it's Sunday. I've done a total of 3 hours of writing for the entire week, most of them on Monday, and I have not finished the chapter I was supposed to finish, and I have not outlined part 9 either, even though I do have some brainstorming notes from my commute. So I have to do that today. I have to write a chapter pretty much entirely from scratch. I've got like the opening paragraph that I worked on yesterday, but I didn't get very much done. I'm still feeling like it's kinda possible to get to my goal of finishing the novel by the end of February, but my optimism is starting to wane, especially because next week I have to go into the lab again, probably twice, maybe 3 times, and it's gonna be another really busy week. Either way, I'm going to go work on the last chapter in part 8 today, and we'll see if I can finish it. Wish me luck. Hi, same day, Sunday evening. I wanted to give you a quick little update because I have been working on that chapter all day and I have a couple of thoughts to share with you. Well, first of all, I haven't finished it. I have been working on it for basically the entire day, and I've gotten to the point where I feel like I'm just writing it for the point of finishing it rather than actually trying to make it good. I think basically I've realized that it's just not going to work. So I guess the problem is there's too much of a time jump between the last time that I had this character on page and now. And I thought it'd be fun to like jump in straight to the action and have the rest of what happened in between as like something that we learn about slowly through the chapter, but it's just not working. It feels like far too much information. It's really like info dumpy and just not good at all. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna add a chapter with what happens in between the last chapter and this one, and sort of like ease into this one, and that chapter will be part of part 7. So that leaves me with 2 options. I can go back to part 7 and write that chapter, or I can skip both chapters and move on to part 9. I feel a bit strange, but I think I am actually going to skip the 2 chapters and move on to part 9. There's a couple of reasons for that. One of them is I'm not actually sure whether I want this storyline in the first place. Like, I'm debating cutting both chapters altogether because I'm not sure how much to the story they actually add. I think they're very helpful in explaining a certain plot line that I'm gonna have in book 2, and it's a good like introduction to that in book 1 so that it doesn't actually come out of nowhere in book 2, and it helps add some stakes for the main plot that's happening from the other characters' points of view. But the chapters themselves don't have that much plot or character development as such. They're a bit shallow, I guess. Like, it feels like they're not very well thought out and not very much is happening. And I think I can make them work. I think I would like to add them if I can figure out a better way of doing that. But I can't do that in a day. And I think at this point, my main motivation for actually finishing the book in February is that I want a break from it. I just want to be able to put it down and free up that mental space and think about something completely different, because this has been something that's been in my head for the last 1.5 years. And the reason I don't just want to take a break halfway through is because I'm scared that I'm going to forget the existing plot lines that I already have and like all of these ideas that are already inside my brain and I haven't written yet. And that doesn't apply to these 2 chapters because clearly I don't have any ideas for them. So I think it makes sense for me to skip them. So I guess what that means is I've officially finished part 8 today. It feels like a bit of a shallow victory because it's not actually finished, and neither is part 7 apparently, but whatever. So we're moving on to part 9 tomorrow. I have 2 weeks left in February, which means 2 weekends, because considering how next week is gonna go work-wise, and probably the week after as well, I don't think I'll get much done from Monday to Friday again. And I have probably 6 chapters to write, so yeah. And I don't actually have part 9 plot finalized either, which I was also going to do today. It's almost there. I have 5 chapters that are like figured out in detail and I have all my notes for that, but I'm not sure about that 6th chapter, which is actually chapter 1 that I'm not sure about. So I have to go into the lab again tomorrow, which is gonna mean another long commute. So I guess my goal for tomorrow's commute is to figure out what to do with that first chapter and whether or not I actually want to have that first chapter. And then, yeah, we'll just see what happens. I do feel like I'm rushing these last 2 chapters a little bit and they're gonna need a lot of revision, but it's fine. I think I just need to treat this as a first draft rather than a 3rd draft, because a lot of it is a first draft. It's Friday the 18th today, and predictably, I haven't done any writing. I have done a lot of brainstorming because I've had a lot of commuting time, so there's been a lot of listening to music and daydreaming and that sort of stuff, but like actual writing down words that will be in my novel has been like a tiny little amount. And I spent all week telling myself that it's okay because I have a whole 2 weeks before the end of the month. But that's not true. I have 2 weekends before the end of the month, which is not the same as having 2 weeks. I also already know that next week is gonna be really busy at work again. I have to go in 3 times, maybe 4 times next week, which is just... And just for context, like, usually my average is 2 times a month. I think we're on like 12 already for February alone, which is insane. I've also narrowed down my outline, by the way. It's gonna be 5 chapters, not 6. And I do have an epilogue, which means that I have 2 weekends, so I gotta write 3 chapters this weekend and 3 chapters next weekend. Hello, it is the 25th of February. It is Friday, and I'm just gonna start by filling you in on what happened last weekend. I didn't finish the 3 chapters that I said I was gonna do. I wrote 1 chapter, then I re-outlined the entire rest of the chapters, added a chapter, and then didn't finish writing that 2nd chapter. So in terms of how many chapters closer am I to finishing the book, the answer is 0. But I am very nearly done with the now 2nd chapter, didn't exist before, which I'm hoping I can finish today. It's, I think, already 7:30, but I think I've got time to finish that today. And that leaves me with 5 chapters to write over the weekend. Yes, that sounds like a lot, but the epilogue is gonna be like maybe 500 words, and the final chapter is also gonna be like 1,000 words maximum, because it's very, very short. So it's not that bad. It's bad, but it's better than it sounds. Yeah, 4 days until the end of the deadline. Let's do some writing. Hello, we are doing the hand vlogging thing because I do not want to set up a book pile right now. But it is 11:15. I've been writing since like 9 a.m. and just wanted to give you a little update. I managed to finish the 2nd chapter down the list, which is the one that I was working on yesterday as well. That only took about 20 minutes actually, because it was basically done. And I've just been working on the 3rd chapter down the list since then, which is, I don't really know, like, I want to say halfway done, but I don't know what point this chapter ends at. I know where it starts, and I know where the next chapter ends. And somewhere in between there I need to change point of view, and I don't know when to do that. So I'm gonna take a bit of a break now and see if stepping away from it helps me figure it out a little bit. It's a really nice day outside, so we might go on a walk. I actually had to close the curtains because the glare from the sun was very strong against my monitors, so they were open for about the 2 minutes that you saw me filming for this morning, and then I closed them again. I finished the chapter. I'm so excited. I think it's gonna need a bunch of work and like potential rewrites, but I'm really happy with the ending line. I think the like point where I chose to switch perspectives works really, really well, so I'm really pleased about that. And I have made myself another cup of jasmine tea, and I am going to jump straight into the next one. I'm hoping I can do the next one today as well, and then I have 3 chapters to do tomorrow, but only one of them is long and the other 2 are very short, so that should be okay. I might actually be able to do this. It is still the same day. It is getting on for 9 p.m. at the minute. I haven't finished the 3rd chapter, but the chapter has 2 scenes and I've written the first one. I may have cried slightly while writing that scene, and the next one's also gonna be emotional, so I think I'm gonna leave that for tomorrow because I'm really tired. Other things that are happening tomorrow, I might have randomly thought of the idea that it'd be kinda cool to finish the book on stream, even though I don't even normally write during streams because I find them very distracting. So now I'm streaming tomorrow. I'm calling this my writing until I finish my web stream, which means that there's no time limit. I'm just gonna keep it running and hopefully finish the 3.5 chapters that I have left. I'm feeling fairly confident that I can do it. However, chapter 5 is from the same point of view character that the 2 chapters are that I skipped early on in the book in part 7 and 8. So I'm a bit torn because some of it I can write without knowing what happens beforehand, but I kinda need to know what happens a bit for writing the style of it at the very least. That's definitely the hardest chapter I have left. I think if I can get past that chapter tomorrow, the other 2 should be very easy to write. They're also a lot shorter. I sort of regret committing to this already. I'm very scared. It's also gonna be my first solo stream, but I also think it's gonna be fun. Hi, I for some stupid reason decided that I was gonna do this to myself, and now I'm streaming and trying to finish my book on camera. I don't know how long this is going to take me, but realistically we're gonna be on stream for 4 hours, maybe 5, maybe 6, hopefully not 7. Hi, I am currently on the 4th sprint of my finishing my book live stream. It's going a lot better than I thought it would. I was genuinely worried this morning when it took me like the first sprint and a bit to write the first half of a chapter that I was gonna be streaming for like 7 hours. But I think I'm just on the 3-hour mark at the minute, and I've done the first half of that chapter, and the next chapter, which is the difficult one, I'm almost done with. I'm fairly confident that I can finish it. Not this sprint because Matt's just making lunch for us, but next sprint probably. And then the other 2 chapters are really short, so like they should only take 1 sprint each. I am a little worried that I'm just jumping from 1 sprint to the next without like actually chatting. I feel like the amount of uncomfortable that I feel about being on camera by myself live without my friends being there is what's making me write so much right now. Because I just want to keep sprinting and not have to put up with that uncomfortableness. And there's a lot of really nice people that have been joining and encouraging me, though. It's been really, really nice. I'm just not used to streaming by myself, but everyone's so lovely, and I genuinely wasn't expecting this many people to join because I chose a really silly time. That's not good for most people. But yeah, I've just got the epilogue, the final chapter, and a little bit of that previous chapter left to write, so I'm actually do think that I can finish this today somehow. Very excited. Okay, ignore the incredibly messy background because I do not want to leave my table right now. But I've just finished writing the last sentence of the last chapter before the epilogue. Oh my god, I literally got goosebumps writing it. Which is strange because this is probably the only line that I've kept from draft 2, like the final sentence of the final chapter is the only line of the entire book that I knew I wanted to keep. And it works so much better now, like it hits a lot harder, I guess because I knew what it was going to be from when I started writing this. I am so happy, oh my god. I gotta write the epilogue, still sprinting. We've got half an hour on what I promised is probably gonna be the last sprint. So I gotta write the entire epilogue in that time, which hopefully should be okay because it's gonna be fairly short. Yeah. I've just finished the epilogue. Finishing the final chapter was a lot more exciting than finishing the epilogue. I feel like the epilogue's gonna need a lot more work, whereas I'm really happy with how the final chapter turned out. I've basically spent the last 10 minutes just line editing the epilogue, which is really not that long, it's like 200 words or something. I still feel like it's not as impactful as I want it to be, but I've written it. That was the end of the sprint. And before I give you my update, I am going to modify my banner. So yes, I finished the book, basically. I don't even want to tell you what the date is today because it's honestly embarrassing how long it's taken me to just sit down and film an outro to this vlog, but I did manage to finish the book on the 27th of February, so one day ahead of my deadline. I attempted to talk about it on the day and my phone ran out of memory. So I'm just gonna give you some closing thoughts. Almost 3 weeks later. I am a little torn about finishing the book so quickly. I feel like the final chapters are a little bit rushed. But at the same time, the final chapters, like the ones I wrote on stream, that are the climax chapters and didn't take me very long to write, I feel like they're actually really good. At least at the time, I felt like I was really in the flow and enjoying writing them, and they just felt very natural. But the chapters at the very end of part 8 and the start of part 9, I felt like that wasn't the case. It was actually still very difficult to write them. I was hesitating on things. I had like a bunch of different options and struggled to decide on one and still wasn't really happy with my choices. And I feel like I did really rush them. I feel like they need a lot of extra work and I'm not very happy with that, but at the same time, I finished it and it's a draft 4 problem now. I am really curious when I go back in and do my reread of this to compare how those final chapters that I feel like went a bit rushed will stand up to the Act 1 chapters that I wrote literally in 2020. So I'm wondering if like I'll have improved my writing enough that these very fast and not so good chapters will be better than the ones that at the time I thought were very polished but are obviously very old now. I guess I'll be finding that out very soon, seeing how long it took me to film this outro. Before I close off this video, I also wanted to give you some quick stats. Now, unfortunately, I don't really have any word count stats for you because I haven't been keeping track and all of my chapters are in separate word files. So it would take me far too long to go through and add it all up, and I really can't be bothered. What I can tell you is that I have a total of 64 chapters at 2,000 words average each, which works out to 128k words, which is far more words than I feel like I've written, and I am certain that that figure must be incorrect somehow. There is absolutely no way that's correct. I'm certain I haven't written more than 80k. That can't be right. The stats that I can give you that I know are correct are time tracking stats. I started this current rewrite in August 2020 and then finished it at the very end of February 2022. This means that I've been working on this draft for a total of 19 months, and during those 19 months, I've done a total of 495 hours of writing. This time is how much I've spent on this draft alone, but if I look at the time I've spent on draft 1, 2, and all the outlining and revision plans in between, that actually brings Project Side up to a total of 726 hours. And I find this really interesting because it means that 68% of the total amount of time I've invested into Project Side since draft 1 in 2016 has actually been on this one rewrite. I really can't wait to reread this entire project and find out whether all those hours have been worth it. But I think I've rambled on for long enough for now. Feel free to let me know what you're working on at the minute and what stage of the process you're in. And I'd also be very curious to know what project you have spent the longest amount of time working on and how long that took you, because clearly this is my one. I hope that you have a wonderful week and I will see you very soon. Bye bye.